El Salvador, a small nation in Central America, for years it was synonymous with violence. Gangs like MS-13 and Barrio 18 held sway. They controlled territories, they extorted businesses, they terrorized communities. Murder became commonplace, people lived in fear, the police seemed powerless, the government crippled. El Salvador was a nation held hostage by its own shadow. The violence stemmed from a brutal civil war. The war ended in 1992, but it left deep scars. Poverty and inequality festered. Gangs offered a perverse sense of belonging. They recruited heavily among the young and hopeless. These gangs thrived in the shadows. They exploited the weak governance and corruption. By the 21st century, El Salvador had become one of the most dangerous countries on earth. The murder rate was staggering. International organizations raised alarms. Tourists stayed away. Investment dried up. The very soul of El Salvador seemed at stake. Something had to change. The people cried out for a savior. In 2019, a new leader emerged. Nayib Bukele, a young and charismatic businessman, became president. He was different. He spoke the language of the people. He understood their frustrations. He promised change. He promised to break the back of the gangs. He promised to restore order. He promised to make El Salvador safe again. Bukele was a man of action. He wasted no time. He implemented a series of tough-on-crime policies. He increased police presence in gang-controlled areas. He deployed the military to patrol the streets. He targeted gang finances and leadership. He used social media to bypass traditional media and speak directly to the people. He cultivated a strongman image. He portrayed himself as the only one who could save El Salvador. Bukele's approach resonated with many. They were tired of living in fear. They craved security. They were willing to accept tough measures. They saw Bukele as a beacon of hope. His popularity soared. He became a symbol of defiance against the gangs. In March 2022, a wave of gang violence shook El Salvador. Over 80 people were murdered in a single weekend. It was a turning point. Bukele responded with an iron fist. He declared a state of emergency. He suspended constitutional rights. He launched a massive crackdown on gangs. The police and military were unleashed. They flooded the streets. They conducted raids. They set up checkpoints. They rounded up anyone suspected of gang affiliation. Thousands were arrested. The government claimed it was targeting only criminals. But human rights groups raised concerns. They documented cases of arbitrary detention. They accused the government of targeting young men based solely on their appearance. The state of emergency was extended multiple times. It became the defining feature of Bukele's presidency. It gave him sweeping powers. It silenced dissent. It transformed El Salvador into a country under tight control. To house the thousands arrested, Bukele ordered the construction of a new prison. It was to be the largest in Latin America, a monument to his war on gangs. It was called the Center for the Confinement of Terrorism, or CECOT. The prison is a fortress. It sprawls across 166 hectares. It has 8 cell blocks. Each block can hold thousands of inmates. The walls are high and topped with razor wire. Guard towers loom at every corner. Surveillance is constant. Facial recognition cameras track every movement. Armed guards patrol the perimeters. CECOT is designed to be inescapable, a concrete and steel testament to Bukele's determination to crush the gangs. The prison was built quickly, with little regard for international standards. Human rights groups were denied access. Concerns were raised about overcrowding, sanitation, and access to medical care, but the government dismissed the criticism. They argued that gang members were not entitled to luxury. CECOT was a place for punishment, not rehabilitation. Life inside CECOT is harsh. Inmates are crammed into overcrowded cells. They sleep on concrete floors. Natural light is scarce. The air is thick with the stench of sweat and despair. Food is basic. Water is limited. Medical care is minimal. Inmates spend most of their days locked inside their cells. There are no educational programs, no vocational training, no rehabilitation efforts. The only activities are infrequent opportunities for exercise in a concrete yard and rare family visits. Even then, contact with the outside world is strictly controlled. The prison is run with an iron fist. Guards are accused of brutality. Inmates live in constant fear. The message is clear. This is what happens to those who challenge the state. This is the price of gang affiliation. Section 6, the Bukele effect. A drastic drop in crime, but at what cost? There is no denying that Bukele's policies have had a dramatic impact on crime. The murder rate has plummeted, extortion has decreased, people feel safer walking the streets. El Salvador is no longer the murder capital of the world. Bukele has claimed victory. He points to the statistics as proof that his methods work. He argues that desperate times call for desperate measures. He has become a hero to many in El Salvador. He has shown that the gangs can be defeated. He has given people hope for a better future, but the question remains, at what cost? Bukele's methods have come at a high price. Human rights have been trampled. The rule of law has been eroded. Democracy has been weakened. El Salvador has become a more authoritarian state. Section 7. The People's Verdict, Public Opinion and Bukele's Soaring Approval. Despite the concerns, Bukele remains immensely popular in El Salvador. His approval ratings are sky high. He has tapped into a deep yearning for security and order. People are willing to overlook his authoritarian tendencies. They see him as a strong leader who gets things done. They are grateful for the peace he has brought to their communities. They are tired of the violence and chaos that plagued their country for so long. Bukele has skillfully used social media to connect with the people. He bypasses traditional media outlets. He controls the narrative. He portrays himself as a man of the people, fighting against corrupt elites and criminal gangs. Section 8. A double-edged sword, balancing security with human rights concerns. The international community has watched Bukele's rise with a mixture of admiration and apprehension. On the one hand, they acknowledge the progress made in reducing crime. On the other hand, they are deeply concerned about the erosion of democratic norms and the human rights violations. Human rights groups have documented widespread abuses. They have accused the government of arbitrary detention, torture, and extrajudicial killings. They argue that Bukele's policies are creating a climate of fear and repression. The challenge for El Salvador is to find a balance between security and human rights. It is possible to fight crime without resorting to authoritarianism. It is possible to uphold the rule of law while addressing the root causes of violence. Section 9. An uncertain future. The long-term implications of Bukele's gamble. The long-term implications of Bukele's policies remain to be seen. He has won a decisive victory over the gangs, but it remains to be seen whether he can consolidate these gains and address the underlying social and economic problems that fuel gang violence. The suppression of dissent and the erosion of democratic institutions could have dangerous consequences in the long run. A society built on fear and repression is not sustainable. It is essential for El Salvador to find a path to peace and justice that respects the rights of all its citizens. The world is watching El Salvador closely. The country is at a crossroads. The choices it makes in the coming years will have profound implications for its future.